Ta-da! Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I would like to start with a little overview of what to think about when you actually move to New York City. Because a couple of months ago when I was thinking, should I move to New York City? I was like, where should I even start? And it seems so big and daunting. And believe me, I've watched every video which is out there moving to New York City and they all suck. Because I wish I had this video, I'm going to make this for future me or you or I don't know, whatever, and tell you what you need to think about when you want to move to New York City. Little disclaimer up front, I'm not an organized person at all. There are probably lots of stupid things I did. Please let me know which ones they are. Without further ado, let's get in there. So what are the big topics to think about here? In my opinion, there are four, and probably a lot of more, but let's start with the four. First of all, what are you going to do when you are there? Second of all, how much money do you need? Third of all, do you need a visa, and if yes, how to get it? And last, where will you sleep? The plan. Give me 1 minute. I made myself some potatoes with spinach. How did I get the plan for New York? What I did was very simple. I completely blocked an entire weekend, went in my grandpa's house. My grandpa lives not here anymore. He's in an elderly home. He's fine. Didn't take my iPhone. I didn't take my laptop. I didn't have Wi-Fi. I didn't have anything and literally just sat there for 2 days being bored as fuck. There's no secret to it. I just was here alone 2 days with a notebook and a pen and I came up with 8 different plans. The thing is, you will rather probably end up with more plans than you can actually realize. But it's better to have a few options, right? Just don't feel overwhelmed by all of the options and commit to one of them. Topic number 2, money, probably one of the most important ones. How did I approach this? I wrote down every little expense I expect to have each month. Doesn't matter how small it is, if it's like Wi-Fi, if it's getting groceries, if it's getting chewing gum. So once you have that list, you calculate a best, a medium, and a worst case scenario. For me, the best case scenario, if I have a very cheap apartment and I get like really lucky and I don't want to spend anything on stupid stuff like clothes, I don't have to buy any clothes in the next year, I would end up at 2,000 euros a month. Medium case, if everything goes normal, groceries are expensive, apartment is kind of like still cheap but kind of expensive, I will end up at like 3,000. And the worst case, if everything goes wrong, I have to travel more often to Germany, back and forth. I don't know, stuff gets broken, blah, blah, blah. I need around 4,500 euros, worst case. So now I had a baseline, okay, how much money do I need for the upcoming year? It's between 24k and 50k, I don't know, like roughly. After now having that baseline, I need to look, okay, where do I get the money from? I can't just like, here's the 50k. So I came up with a list of how to get money. Like there are scholarships. I can get a cheaper rent. I can try to opt for less monthly cost. I can get a job. There are literally so many options on how to get the money. If you want to go further into how I'm sponsoring this for myself, I am glad to talk about it. I just don't want to annoy you with boring stuff. So that recaps the money thing. Make a list of how much you're going to spend. Make a worst and best case scenario. Write down options of how you can get that money. There are artist visas, there are like working visas, there are tourist visas. There are so many visas and it all seems so complicated while researching it. What I found out are the 2 easiest options. First of all, you can just travel with the ESTAS and still get an apartment. The ESTAS visum is basically the easiest to get. You fill out a form, it takes you 10 minutes online. It costs you like 10 bucks and you can travel to the US for 90 days each for I think like a year or 1.5. That means that basically each 90 days I have to travel back and forth to Germany and back. Traveling just to Canada or Mexico doesn't count, it's like too close. So I probably have to travel back to Germany every 90 days, which fits my schedule anyway because I want to see my grandpa and my family and friends once in a while, you know? I also have to work a little bit, so tomato, tomato, works. The second easiest option costs you like around 200-300 euros. It's a couple of pages to fill out. You have to go to an American embassy in Germany. You have to do this little interview, but for 200 bucks you get the tourist visa. It's called B2 and you can travel to US in periods of 180 days, which is quite fine. No, that's just like flying back and forth 2 times instead of 4. So you save kind of a lot of money. The important thing is to know, with an ESTA visum, you can still get an apartment. It's like no issue, even if you are just allowed to stay for 3 months. That was nice to know for me. It seems like it's a crazy market, so I would make lists of creative options to live in New York. Do I know any people where I can crash on the couch? Okay, I found a guy where I can sleep for the first month on the couch. Where do I go from there? For example, there's an institution where you can live with elderly people for just $500 a month. It's like from the government of New York. I'm so excited about it. I heard about it from a friend. It's ingenious. You could dog sit, for example. Those are cheap options. You can rent an apartment with friends. I have the freaking best tip in the world. I'm actually going to stay 3 blocks from Central Park, Upper Manhattan. I can't believe it myself. And that was literally through calling a bunch of people who previously lived in New York and asking them 2 questions. First of all, where should I sleep? Second of all, who should I meet? Sorry. Potato stuck in my throat. Through the first 2 or 3 calls, I actually got some opportunities to stay in an apartment for really cheap. So my top tip for getting an apartment, make a list of all the people you know who've previously stayed in New York or who are currently staying in New York. Ask them for the little favor, hey, I'm currently thinking about moving to New York. In the planning process, since you have done it before, you're such an expert, could you help me out with answering 1 or 2 questions? What I'm currently thinking about, where should I stay? Who should I meet? Do you have time for a little chat? That worked wonders for me, and it might for you as well. Again, if you want to hear the secret sauce of where I'm exactly staying, I can make another video, just let me know. I don't want to make it sound too complicated, like just go take a weekend on your own without any phones and make your plan. Next weekend, go out there and think about how much money you need, which visa you want, and where you're going to sleep. Make a few calls. But in the end, all of this doesn't really matter. What do you need to actually move? You need the plane tickets and maybe a place to stay for the first month or so. If there's something I learned, once you start doing things, things will figure themselves out. And this was my overview. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like it. Make sure to follow my journey. Make sure to tell me which stupid things I did. Maybe you have some more tips for planning how to go to New York City. Over and out. I will eat my lunch. Bye.